It's something we live by every single second of every day. But how often do we actually stop and question it? In this explainer, we're going to tackle one of the most fundamental and maybe one of the most misunderstood concepts in our entire universe. What exactly is time?
And let's just dive right into the heart of the mystery. Think about it. We can move forward and backward in space, right? You can walk across a room and then walk back. So why is time a one-way street? Why can't we ever rewind the clock?
Okay, so to even begin to unpack this, we've got to challenge our most basic assumption about what time even is. And for that, we're going to turn to a philosopher and physicist named Ernst Mach. Now, this quote, it just completely flips our intuition on its head. Mach's big idea was that we don't actually use time to measure change. No, he argued that we see things change, a rock eroding, a plant growing, and from observing that change, we invent the concept of time to describe it. Here's another way to think about it. A clock doesn't really measure time. It's just a machine, a system that's been designed to change at a very consistent and predictable rate. We look at the changing position of its hands and we compare that to other changes happening around us, like the sun moving across the sky, or, ourselves getting older, and we call that comparison time. It's a tool we created. But, and this is a big but, if Mach is right, if time is just an invention, it creates a huge logical puzzle. It's a famous one, actually, known as the arrow of time. If time is just this mental tool that we created, this abstraction that we just sort of impose on the world to help us make sense of change, why does it have such a strict, unbreakable rule? Why can we remember the past, but we can't remember the future? Why does an egg break, but never, ever unbreak itself? If we just made time up, you'd think it would be a little more flexible, right? For that answer, we have to leave philosophy behind and journey into this seriously strange world of fundamental physics. Because it turns out there is a deep physical reason for time's one-way direction. And this is where physicist Jan-Willem van Holten gives us a crucial piece of the puzzle. See, for a long time, most people just assumed the basic laws of physics were time-symmetric, meaning you could run them forwards or backwards and they'd work just fine. But it turns out that's not entirely true. And this broken symmetry, it comes from the relationship between matter and its spooky twin, antimatter. Just think of antimatter as matter's perfect mirror image, but with an opposite electrical charge. And in almost every way, they behave exactly the same. But, and this is key, experiments show one crucial exception. Their interactions aren't perfectly symmetrical if you try to run the clock backward. There's this tiny but absolutely profound imbalance. And listen, this isn't just some weird quantum quirk we're talking about. This tiny imbalance between particles and antiparticles is the single most important reason that our universe and everything in it, including us, exists at all. Okay, so picture this. In the first moments of the Big Bang, equal amounts of matter and antimatter were created. Now, they should have instantly collided and just wiped each other out in a flash of pure energy, leaving behind, nothing. But because of that tiny violation of time symmetry, that slight imperfection in the mirror, a little bit of matter was left over. Every galaxy, every star, every planet, and every single one of us, we are made from that leftover matter. The very same imbalance that gives time its forward direction is the imbalance that allowed us to exist in the first place. So, how in the world do we put these two big ideas together? We've got Mach's philosophical idea of time as an invention, and then we have Van Holten's physical reality of time having a built-in direction. And what's so cool is that they aren't contradictory at all. They're like two sides of the same coin. Mach explains our subjective experience of time. It's the story we tell ourselves about change. But Van Holten explains the objective reality that our story has to follow. The universe has a built-in plot, this forward arrow. And our perception of time is simply us living out that one-way story. So in the end, it seems our perception of time and the physical reality of it are deeply connected. We invented the concept we call time to describe the story of the universe. But the plot of that story, the fact that it can only move forward, is written into the very fabric of existence by the same leftover matter that makes us possible. And it leaves you with a really fascinating thought. If matter is what gives time its arrow, what is time like in the great empty voids of space where there's nothing?
It's a question that just goes to show how much more there is to understand about this incredible mystery.